Greetings, Algo artisans. Does Vladimir Putin like crypto? Is Putin bullish on Bitcoin? We're going to talk about it right now. Before we get into it, please like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, follow me on X, do all of those things because it helps me get more content out to you. We're going to take a look at an Investopedia article. I love Investopedia. It's nonpartisan. It just pretty much reports what is, in my opinion, at least more so than a lot of other things these days. So understanding the digital ruble. In a private meeting, Vladimir Putin announced in October 2017 that Russia would be issuing its own state-proposed currency, the digital ruble. Digital ruble is issued by Russia's central bank as a CBDC and managed by the Russian government. 13 Russian banks were chosen to test out the digital currency, and these banks will allow some clients to test it. The digital currencies will be centralized in nature as the central bank issues it. The digital ruble is expected to operate like the Russian ruble in digital and in form. It has the same price as the ruble and has an exchange rate of 1-to-1. One thing we want to kind of talk about here is whether or not the ruble, the digital ruble, is a cryptocurrency. There is a bit of a difference between, say, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and CBDCs, right? And right now, and for actually quite some years, Russia has been much more digitized in their money than, say, like the US or a place like Japan, where people use a lot of money, like paper money, actual cash. I have some, people who've been there, some friends, and long story short, when they went there, pretty much everything was done kind of like it is in China with WeChat, where everything is paid on their phone. And one guy even got like a speeding ticket and the money just like came out of his account. And so what you're seeing is what could happen if the United States went to a CBDC, right? Like you get a speeding ticket and then the money disappears from your account before you even have a chance to go fight it in court. And we're kind of already on the way there with the way that works in some states in the US, but we're not going to dig too deep into that. What we are going to do is just differentiate between crypto and the digital ruble, right? We're going to go through a series of articles that started in early 2022 and ended in 2023 that kind of take us through the recent history of Russia and what seems to be a rift with regard to cryptocurrency between the Central Bank of Russia and the Ministry of Finance. Okay, so this is an NBC News article, and it is from early 2022, February 25th, I believe. And so it says here, could Bitcoin be Putin's economic savior? That's unlikely, experts say. And the main point of this article is that experts in money laundering on Friday, I'm just going to read it from the article here, they said that it would be not realistic for Russia to switch to cryptocurrencies on a large scale to move money across borders, even if it might work for smuggling small amounts into or out of the country. So I think what they're getting at here is that cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and so on and so forth, it's just too small. It's too small for the large transactions that they do. The billions and billions of dollars in oil, all the goods, all the food, all the grain, the electronics, a lot of things that come out of Russia. Bitcoin's just not big enough, is what they're saying. Now, there are arguments that say, yeah, sure, it's big enough. Just start using it. It'll grow. Like that, there is that idea. But of course, the article goes on, and this is right as the, whether you're in the West, you call it an invasion, or you're in Russia, you call it a special military operation, whatever your term is for it. This is when the Ukraine situation happens. So Russia, of course, is going to be cast into a very negative light by Western media outlets. And I'm personally not really going to talk about, Russia good, Russia bad, Putin good, Putin bad. This is more of a functional article. And of course, if I'm going to point out the slant of an article, it has to do with entire subject itself, right? So this article doesn't really focus so much on crypto, though. It just is important because find out that cryptocurrency is not exactly something they can use to evade sanctions. Even though we hear all the time, oh, they're going to use crypto to evade sanctions. Well, actually, frankly, crypto is just not a big enough market even now. It's just not, with the amount of oil that gets sold on a regular basis, if they were going to use crypto and Bitcoin, it would have to be a much, much bigger market for them to transact. Because even though it's like a, now $1 or $2 trillion market, it's just not big enough because so many people still own it. It's not like people are selling their Bitcoin for that. 75% of Bitcoin holders don't sell. So you're talking about a thinly traded asset. Now, of course, there are theories that if they went ahead and bought it and started using it, it would grow. I've already said that. I'm just saying it again. But it's too cumbersome and it's too small. And there's another article here from Fortune that echoes this sentiment. Putin's war is disrupting crypto's fantasy of stateless money. And again, what's actually important in this article, because I could go through the whole article and I would show you how they say kind of the same thing, where like Bitcoin and crypto are too small for Russia to use to evade sanctions. What's actually important in this article isn't really quite as important to the subject of this video, but it's a nice side note. It says President Joe Biden's recent executive order was a win for the crypto industry in the sense that it didn't conclude tough new regulations are taken out of adversarial tone. And that's related to the fact that Russia probably can't use it for evading sanctions. That's why this is in this article in the first place. But just so you understand, like in this recent Bitcoin ETF story and all of that, it's not Biden and his buddies that are really big fans of that. It's actually the other side of the aisle. So the fact that Biden would actually be not so hard on crypto and in executive orders and any of the laws that he's signing kind of tells us that Bitcoin actually has a decent place in our financial system in the future. At least it gives us a clue as to that. Now here's a Reuters article, and that's in May of 2022. Russia molds allowed cryptocurrency for international payments, Interfax reports. Now, what we have here is actually where they conflate, I believe, cryptocurrency to CBDC, right? So it says here Russia is considering allowing cryptocurrency to be used for international payments. Interfax agency reports in a government official as saying on Friday, the idea of using digital currencies and transactions for international settlements is being actively discussed. Even Chebeskov, how to get that right, head of the Finance Ministry's Financial Policy Department, was quoted as saying, now, Mr. Chebeskov and the Finance Ministry are going to be a key player in the rest of these articles. It says here, Russian officials are wrestling with how to regulate the country's crypto market and use digital currencies, with the Finance Ministry opposed to the central bank's calls for a blanket ban. This is where we start to learn who wants what. What we are not familiar with as of this part of the show, if you will, is where Putin stands here. But the Finance Ministry wants to regulate and use crypto. The central bank does not. Now, just so you understand, when it comes to large economies, the only economy whose central bank is not beholden to, say, the Davos crowd or the WEF or the old European bankers is going to be China. They kicked all those people out. The People's Bank of China is not quite as beholden, right? Now, they use a lot of dollars, and there's still a lot going on there as far as who influences who. But I will say the Russian central bank does have a bit more influence from outside groups, and that should tell you what outside groups think of crypto, right? So the central bank doesn't like crypto. Outside groups probably don't like crypto either. And I think we all know from the many, many videos that we've done what such people think of crypto, right? However, the Finance Ministry is interested. It says here discussions have been going on for months, and though the government expects cryptocurrencies to be legalized as a means of payment sooner or later, no consensus has yet been reached. Now, as we go through these articles, we're actually going to sort of see this history unfold. And it says here, and this is this is July of 2022, Vladimir Putin signs law banning digital asset payments in Russia. Okay, so we are seeing where basically they're saying, I'll just read right here from the bullet points. The law was approved by the Russian Assembly, known as the Duma, July 8th, bans use of digital currencies and utility tokens as a means of payment for goods, services, and products in Russia. It also, let me see, Russia's Ministry of Finance introduced a bill to Parliament that would regulate cryptocurrencies in the country. This is a contrast to the view of the Bank of Russia, which has pushed for crypto activity to be banned, and Russia has come under scrutiny this year for its alleged use of currencies to evade sanctions following its invasion of Ukraine. Okay, well, we know that that's probably unlikely given the size of cryptocurrency. This evading sanctions is more, I think, of a pot shot at crypto as opposed to a pot shot at Russia, right? So they're trying to say, oh, crypto bad because Putin bad because Russia bad. Okay, well, I don't think crypto bad, that's for sure. As to Putin and Russia, history will tell. Russia warms to crypto in quick about face. This is October of 2022. This, I think, is the article where they talk about the crypto ruble, right? It says now Moscow is actively turning to crypto, planning a digital ruble early next year as it seeks to modernize its financial system and increase its clout in the global financial system. Meanwhile, the EU has other ideas and last week tightened restrictions on Russia's cryptocurrency presence. The topic of digital financial assets, the digital ruble and crypto, is currently intensifying in society as Western countries are imposing sanctions and creating problems for bank transfers, including in international settlements. Anatoly Aksakov, head of the Russian Duma's Financial Committee, was quoted by Reuters as telling a parliamentary newspaper, if we launch this, then other countries will begin to actively use it going forward, and America's control over the global financial system will effectively end. So this is an interesting comment here by Anatoly Aksakov, where they're saying, launching the digital ruble is going to reduce America's control over the global financial system. So this is a financial war if you look at those particular sentiments and believe that. Now, again, this is about the crypto ruble, right? This isn't necessarily about Bitcoin or digital, okay? So let's keep that in mind where this is an article more about that. But what they're saying here is that this creates an incentive for countries to try to find an alternative currency to transact for things like cross-border trade, because then you're no longer at the mercy of U.S. economic sanctions. Okay, let's move here. And this is just more of a reiteration of the Bank of Russia wanting to ban and the Ministry of Finance wanting to regulate and not ban, right? And this is an article in Bitcoin Magazine, and this is where we begin to see where Putin stands on this one. It says here, Putin supports Bitcoin mining in Russia, report. And so what he says here is that the the Russians have the power surplus and well-trained manpower, according to a translated version of the statement. Kremlin, right? So they want, here it says Putin on a Wednesday meeting with government officials acknowledged the central bank's position, but highlighted that Russia has some competitive advantages to mining Bitcoin. And again, power surplus, well-trained manpower, according to the statement. So now you're starting to see where Putin, I don't know if this is why he really wants Bitcoin, but he definitely thinks that a competitive advantage can be gained. He doesn't necessarily define how those will be advantageous to the economy, but he says as far as mining is concerned, they have competitive advantage. And if you think about it, Bitcoin does seem to be a big part of the future, so it might be that they want to make sure that they have Bitcoin production in their borders, right? That way, not just one country has all the control. Because right now it's, I think it's America, and I think Kazakhstan has a lot of mining. China once had most of the mining, but I think that got moved to the U.S., although I think China still actually has a lot of mining. So it says here, although Putin is mostly in favor of enabling Bitcoin miners to operate in the country, the three people familiar with the matter also told Bloomberg that the Russian president supports the proposal to restrict mining to regions with a surplus of electricity, such as Irkutsk, Krasnoyarsk, and Karelia. Sorry if I don't speak Russian, so hope I didn't butcher that too bad. Okay, good. So let's move on to the next. And it's just more about Bitcoin mining machines flowing into Russia. So we can safely say that Putin is probably in favor of Bitcoin. He doesn't seem like a president where finance is his main strength, and that's fine. I don't know that that's how it should be. I'm not putting him down or putting him up. What I am saying, though, is that I think he probably is smart enough to trust certain people when it comes to finance, and I think he sees the production of Bitcoin being advantageous to be happening within Russia's borders, and he may feel that having it rolled out as an actual payment might not be a bad idea, but he's probably not going to say that because he doesn't want to upset too many people. He doesn't want to upset the cart over there, right? People are happy with him, mostly over there from what people say. I don't know. I don't live there. You're going to hear different versions of that story, but if you hear the official story from over there, they like him, so he probably just wants to not upset the apple cart, and as things move forward, I get the feeling in maybe like 5 or 10 years, probably see crypto being more loosely used. I think the current banking system is going to undergo a lot of changes, and I think we'll start to see things loosen up maybe by 2030. Just my opinion. I hope this was an interesting video. Please go ahead over to algofactory.tech. We help people build trading methods, right? So what we do is we help people learn how to trade in markets, and we help people learn how to extract money from markets. They build the plan themselves. It's not the most complex thing to do. It takes work. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. But what I will say is that if you do have the determination and you put forth the work, there is the ability to accept an income stream. It is possible. So please come over to algofactory.tech and trade your job and upgrade your life. We'll see you on the next one. All right, hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. On the screen there you can see our website, algofactory.tech. Tap that QR code to take you straight there. I'm also very active on X. That's algo_factory777. We got TikTok and Rumble. In the meantime, we hope to see you over at the website. Come on over, trade your job, upgrade your life. We'll see you there.